Hi, everybody. I just thought this would be the easiest way for me to tell you about my comments on your letters to Congress because I just finished all of them and it was wonderful. I may have waited a serious amount of time between you handing in the letters and me licking a lot of the envelopes, but that's okay. So I have comments for all of you, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm having a great day because my husband found paper towels while he was out. So woohoo. All right, so second period, you guys wrote to state legislators, Kay Kirkpatrick, John Carson, and Sharon Cooper on matters of state legislation concerning rent control and medical marijuana. And then you also wrote to federal legislators, one letter to Senator Loeffler, 5 to David Perdue, 16 to Lucy McBath, and 2 to President Trump. And you all wrote on a variety of issues. In fact, very few of these things have more than one letter. You wrote about protecting American lungs and reversing the youth tobacco epidemic, Advanced Geothermal Innovation Leadership Act. Two of you wrote on divided family reunification. That was actually a popular one across the classes. A few of you wrote about fairness for high-skilled immigrants. One of you wrote about the Malala Yousafzai Scholarship Act. I'm sure I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Someone else wrote about keeping jobs in the US, a House resolution. Somebody wrote about police accountability, another House resolution having to do with license to carry holders operating ride services like Lyft and Uber. Two of you wrote about the Border Security and Child Safety Act. One person wrote about the Puppy Protection Act, gun violence, Vaccinating All Children Act. Two of you wrote about that. Supporting Nicaragua, Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act. Lower costs, more cures, physician-assisted suicide. One person wrote about the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. And oops, that's 2 on supporting Nicaragua. All right, so here come your individual comments. Get ready. Karen, I adjusted your letter so that it would go to a member of the state legislative branch. I thought that you made an excellent emotional and logical argument in favor of your topic. And you also did a great thing by going after the opposition's argument and addressing that very well. So yay, kudos to you. Josie, I'm glad you explained why you're so interested in the medical field. My grandfather went to Emory and loved it. 44 states, huh? That was news to me. That would be a huge change in the way that we've allowed it to be a 10th Amendment issue or reserve power up until this point. But you were very detailed in your suggestions and why you felt this was necessary. So that was well written. Augustine, good idea, including your personal background to make a connection to what you're writing about. Whenever you do that, it comes through loud and clear, and it equates as passion or knowledge, but it's good. You use very clear logic in explaining why this is a problem that should be remedied as a top priority. Ansel, you use the term gridlock. Good job, buddy. You use the G word in a letter to a representative. You were very specific about what you liked about your bill and the positive effects you anticipated that it might have. You did not sound redundant or naive like you suggested. And I love that you invited her to discuss if she disagreed with you. So good job there. Chris, writing about a matter of state concern and election reform for judges. That's really interesting. And that's actually something we're going to talk about quite a bit in our discussion tomorrow. So make sure you tune in and chime in with your thoughts on how we should reform judicial elections. Okay? And don't forget, judges' federal positions are not elected, only in the state. And we're the only country that does that. Shia, how very current what you wrote about. By the time she gets this, I imagine what you hoped for will have happened. It's always easier when something has bipartisan support. Wrote this letter compared to what actually passed. But you did a nice job addressing rumors and stories, and that the government should speak with a clear and unified voice. So, Grace, I didn't know you played 2 instruments. Go you. Very nice word choice. School is supposed to be a safe and healthy environment. Also, it's good to recognize that a lot of people like you guys would go to school while ill in order not to miss days. We're a far cry from that now, aren't we? And I like that you brought up measles. Okay. Olivia, good idea to write to her about something she is so passionate about. And you proposed a bill. Good for you. Have you given too much thought as to why the law is the way it is with very little regulation on hunting firearms? I like that you mentioned how this would not, in your opinion, interfere with the Second Amendment. So, Zara, I know you're a dog person, so I'm glad you wrote about something you really care about. And I'm glad to hear that your puppy is okay. I think it was smart to let Representative McBath know about the terrible conditions and health issues that your dog experienced due to a lack of regulation for breeders. And way to mention some interest groups as well. Guillaume, you spoke about Spain. I think you did a very good job making a personal connection to what you're writing about and pulling on some heartstrings. That's always an easy thing to do when you're talking about kids. You made some very powerful word choices in calling out a country that is behaving in a way that you do not see fit. I like the quote you used, tainted the image of the US worldwide. So that was strong. I'm sure that definitely will get some attention. Ben, I didn't know about Scotland. That's so neat. But I know last time we had a Zoom that was in your background. So that was kind of fun. How cool. You included specifics that you liked about your bill, included the fact that you yourself could actually benefit since you're such a hardworking student. So nice job there. Sophie, nice job applauding her work in gun control, as that is something she is so passionate about. It never hurts to say, way to go on what you've been working on. You recognize that even though it has a low level of passing, you still wanted to express your opinion, that still many would feel unsafe if it did pass. So good job there. Marissa, nice job really highlighting in your mind how this might not seem to be an American problem, but in reality is. You made it clear you actually did your research and you understand the bill. And then you made it a personal issue, inserting yourself into the scenario. And way to compliment her on a job well done. So, Eleanor, good job doing your research and identifying that it was proposed by a fellow Georgian. Perhaps that will help with a sense of solidarity and log rolling. You wrote very well, appealed to emotion, and used logic with concrete examples and some powerful statistics. Way to thank her for her activism against gun violence. And I'm sure you guys all know why it's so close to her heart with the loss of her son, Jordan. Ashton, do you know Miss Colacerdo? She's fairly new in the social studies department, but she also went to Catholic University. So if you have any questions, you could ask her about it. I'm super jealous you're going to be in DC all the time. Ugh, I would love to just be able to go for a run and see the Lincoln Memorial. But I digress. Keeping jobs in the US would probably be a bipartisan supported issue. So chances are she's going to agree with you. So good job on that choice there. Nikita, increasing scholarship opportunities for Pakistani women. Nandini also wrote on this one. I didn't know that less than 10% of Pakistani women were involved or enrolled in higher education programs. Goodness. Way to connect this to higher education, gender equality, and benefiting the economy. Fabulous use of the C.S. Lewis quote. And it's always good to personally connect yourself to what topic you're discussing. So, Stephen, way to point out that while the title suggests something benevolent and good, it is, in your opinion, not. You suggested that it would benefit few and alienate others. I like that you connected the issue to the economy. It's always good to see how your issue can involve others. And I love that you asked him for film advice. I don't know if that's the industry he came from, but why not give it a try? Austin, way to appeal to heartstrings. It's always a good way to go. And it's done very well when the legislation involves families. This issue will probably have bipartisan support and could potentially improve relations between us, North and South Korea. So, woohoo. Frank, yay, go Jackets. I love how you ask him to imagine what it would be like, and of course, appeal to our country's ego that we should lead this charge. That's always a good go-to. Way to give good examples having to do with money and arguing for a cheaper option. I love how you tried to bring him to your side of thinking. I really haven't read a letter that went about it as you did, so it was very clever and very forward-thinking. Melody, I didn't know you were VP of the Teen Advisory Council and fencing. That's so neat. Did you guys get to finish your season? I don't even know when it is. I'm glad you picked something that definitely concerns people your age. It was a good idea to let him know of your experiences and what you've heard secondhand. It is a serious issue, and it most likely will have bipartisan support. So, Gabrielle, learn from Lassiter sounds great. What an idea. I'm so glad that you did that. You provided some very compelling statistics. 39 out of 100, huh? Ooh. I'm glad that you recognized her political leanings might go the other way, and this was very well written. Zach, probably a good idea to start here rather than recreational, simply in terms of time and progress so far. I like that you include that this would provide another option for pain management as well as an appetite stimulant. So good job there. Kylie, way to remind him that you worked for his campaign previously, and I applaud you for having done so. And I don't know if I knew you were a drum major. That's amazing. I like how you referenced the lack of mortal danger and addiction potential involved with this drug. And you also mentioned numerous ailments that could be helped. You were very convincing. Riley, just so you know, you wrote to somebody who's probably not going to share your viewpoint, but you continued on providing many examples of scenarios that will that could result from this, which were not good for anyone, babies, mothers, communities. Okay. Sarah, nice job recognizing that a nation should not intervene in the business with others always. But in this case, you feel as though we should. Due to human rights violations, you provided some harrowing numbers and scary realities to pull on heartstrings. And based on President Trump's guest at the State of the Union, I'm sure he's going to agree with you. Last but not least, Ian, yay, Lee University. I know plenty of people who've gone there and loved it. I'm sorry about baseball being cut short. Bringing up suppression of human rights is not only going to, like I keep saying, pull on heartstrings, but it's also going to remind congressmen and women of our duty, or at least it has been in the past, to look after smaller nations for humanitarian purposes. Although sometimes we use that to justify going in for other reasons, but I think he'll agree with you. And this is a bipartisan issue as well. So good job, everybody. Those are going to be going out. Who knows when they'll get back to you, but hopefully they will. Just know that I read them and I thought you did a very nice job. Way to be civically engaged. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the Zoom. Bye-bye.